o'clock, but let me take you through the Brightly Gleaming Suite and tell you why this is one of my favorite suites in the catalog. So I see that I'm just a little off here, so I'm going to move it down here. So we've got the Brightly Gleaming with lots of great samples and lots of great products. So let me show you the actual product. Okay, the first product is the Christmas Gleaming Stamp Set. And is a cling stamp, so it means it's red rubber as opposed to photopolymer. And it has some punches that coordinate with it. And hopefully you can see those. That's the Gleaming Ornament Punch Pack. So there's 2 punches in the pack, which is great. And you can order them together as a bundle and save 10% on the price. Now, the reason I love dies, I love die cutting, but sometimes you just want to stamp something and punch it. And that's why I love this bundle so much, because you got the punch, it's real simple. So that's the main stamp and punches. And then we also have this beautiful ribbon, and I love it so much that you can see this is all I have left of a 10-yard roll. I'm gonna have to order some more. So this is a 1/2 inch. It's a weave ribbon. And it's in very vanilla with copper printing, and I love it. Isn't it pretty? And as I said, it's 10 yards, but that's all I've got left. Then we've got some Star Designer elements, and that these are self-adhesive, so you don't even have to stick a glue dot on the back of these. And you get 40 of them, so you can see how many I've used. You see, I really love this Brightly Gleaming Suite, as you can see. And then we've also got these fabulous foil elements. Let me try and find a brand new sheet to show you, because these ones I've used a bit. So you can see here, they're copper. Now they aren't self-adhesive, but I'm going to show you a trick when I make the card. I'm going to show you a trick on how to put glue on these. You get 50 of these. So I think there is, I'm not sure how many sheets there are. I'm going to say 8 maybe. It doesn't say in the catalog, so I apologize. So you got some sprigs, you've got stars, you've got these little ornaments, and you've got these little stars. So you get a bunch of those, and then each sheet repeats. Okay, so aren't those pretty? Then we have this fabulous embossing folder. It's a hammered metal 3D, so it's one of the thicker ones, meaning that it really deeply embosses. And so you just take your, in this case, I took the copper foil paper, because this is a copper accented suite. And I just ran it through my die cut machine, and then this is what you end up with. This beautifully hammered, I guess is all you can say about it. It looks like it's been, you know, like the old fashioned hammered metal. Now, before I move on, I just want to say something about these folders. These folders aren't as thick as the older ones that we used to produce. These are the new version of them by Stampin' Up. So they're thinner, but they actually give a better deep embossing, and they don't crack the paper. Now, when you use these with your die cutting machine, you may need a shim because they are thinner. Or we have a product that we sell. Let me just grab it and show you. So normally you would put your platform and you'd put your paper inside your folder, and then you put a clear plate on top. This is supposed to be a clear plate. As you can see, it's well loved, and run it through. But you won't get an impression because this is too thin. So we do have an adapter that we sell. It's and it's blue, which I like, so I can tell which one is which. And then when you put that on top, you won't need the shims. Okay. So if you have any questions about that, you can post it during the day or anytime, and I'll answer it. So let me just set that aside. And then we have beautiful Brightly Gleaming Specialty Designer Series paper. I'm just going to make some room here. I've got myself a little bit cramped. Okay. So here's the Designer Series paper. So it's 12 sheets, 12 by 12. I've just cut them down to 6 by 6 so you can see them. And on one side we have this beautiful copper embossed design. Gorgeous. And then on the other side we have, they're not copper embossed, but they are just pretty patterns that you can use for your projects. So 2 sides, and you get 2 of each sheet, so you can pick your favorites. So the card that I'm going to make is this one. Pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but it's got a lot of the elements on it. So let's start by grabbing all the pieces I'm going to need. I will be posting this card on my blog in a couple of weeks. I'll come back to why it's going to be in a couple of weeks, but all the instructions will be there in a few weeks' time because I'm going to be posting this card as my blog post. All right, so the first thing I've got is my Mossy Meadow. Now this is just a standard card cut to 8.5 by 5.5, and then it's scored at 4 1/4. Make your card front. And I've got some copper foil paper, and then I've got my Very Vanilla, and then I've cut 2 strips of designer series paper. Okay, so let's start by putting those on. Now you can use whatever glue you like. I love, and I know I'm kind of maybe in the minority, I love our multi-purpose white glue for a couple of reasons. One, it's easy to use, and it also is kind of forgiving. It gives me time to move my piece around if I haven't got it stuck quite right before it dries. So I like that because I tend to make mistakes sometimes when I glue my projects. Okay, so there we go. And then I can go ahead and just glue that all right to the front of the card. The other reason this glue is so great is it works beautifully with glimmer paper, and it also works beautifully with this sort of the slippery back of a foil sheet. I find them a little bit slippy. So that's pretty as it is, and you could add anything. So what I've done is, I mentioned earlier that I used the copper embossing powder because it coordinates with the copper accents. I've already gone ahead and stamped it in Versamark, applied my copper, and then heat embossed it. I didn't want to do that on camera, but I did want to tell you a tip. I always use an embossing buddy, and you just rub it on your paper before you stamp. And the reason is that the oil from your fingers can transport onto the paper, and when you go to put the embossing powder on and you tap off the excess, it sometimes sticks to those little pieces of oil. So this just eliminates all of that by rubbing it first. Okay, and you can use it on dark paper, it doesn't hurt it. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done that, and now I'm going to punch it out with the coordinating punch. So this is what I was saying earlier about how great these punches are. Now I turn my punch upside down and line up. I punch that out, and then I'm going to add some of that copper trim to the back. And really all I do is take it and kind of wind it around my hand and cut it off like so. And it doesn't matter if this end frays, it actually looks kind of cool if it frays. To get this on the back, you could use double-sided tape. Honestly, I just use Scotch tape. I find it less fussy. I just stick it on like that. But you could use our tear tape. That would work too. Okay, so now I've got that. And I want to pop it up on my card. So I want to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. These are the regular sized ones. Here's a tip. If you can't get the back off, just press your nail onto it and they just fly off. All right, now I want to stamp this image, which is the Merry Christmas image. And I'm going to use Night of Navy ink. And I've just got my Very Vanilla paper. These stamps that have the word, it's like you ink it, but instead of the image being raised out of the stamp, like normally, like this one, I don't know if you can see that it's just raised above the rubber. This one is actually etched into the rubber. I would call that a negative design, meaning that the words aren't stamped. It's the outer edges that are stamped, and then you've got your words in the color of the cardstock. I hope that makes sense. Now there is no punch or die cut for this. This requires scissors, so a little bit of fussy cutting. Now the great thing is we not only do we sell Stampin' Dimensionals that are awesome, we sell these little itty bitty baby ones, which are also adorable. So I'm gonna get those. And I think what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm not going to pop up this side because I want this side, this is already a popped up image, so I want this side to be popped up, but I want this side to be flat against there. So again, my glue, my white glue is perfect for that. So there you go. So we're almost done. Now, on my original card, I added one of those beautiful foil accents, and I'm going to bring those back in here. And I'm going to use the little sprig. Here it is. Can you see that? Now, earlier I mentioned that they don't have adhesive on them. So my brilliant friend, Connie Stewart, came up with this idea, which is brilliant. Get your silicone mat. I had this as a free giveaway a couple of weeks ago for orders. I sent my customers one of these if they ordered. And this is one of the tips. So you're going to, again, my fabulous white glue, you're going to put a little blob on here. You're going to wet a sponge and pick up this. Now you're going to kind of you don't want too much. You just want enough. So you can just do that. And pick it up, and then it's got glue on the back. And then you can just glue that down, and that will set there. You just have to let it set. Okay. So that's the finished card. Oh, I lied. I actually added some little, these are metallic enamel kind of pearlized dots. And they're not copper. They're gold and silver, but you know what? They go really nicely, and I don't have them in front of me. So I can't do that, but I do have these, which are the stars that I talked about earlier. So they might look nice. Let's try that. Oh, they do. They look very nice. Now, I don't believe in putting one on. You have to have odd numbers. It's like when you plant a flower bed, you either need 3 or 5 or 7. You can't go with just 1 or 2. Okay, so that's my finished card.
Hey, hey! Step it up! Whoa!